Hi, I'm Jennet Ingle, the 5 Minute Reedmaker. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead and click subscribe for me. That way you'll always know when I drop a new episode, and it'll be easier for other people to find my channel and to become themselves better reedmakers and happier musicians. Thank you. I wanted to talk today about stability in reed making and point out that even though stability sounds like a very good quality, and is, the opposite of stability is not instability. The opposite of stability is flexibility. And if we consider that the spectrum on which you are building your reeds, you get to decide where on that spectrum you live. It may depend on whether you are playing principal oboe or playing second oboe for the most part. It may depend on whether you're playing in general with a big orchestra or with a woodwind quintet. It might depend on who you want to be as a player and how you like to use your mouth and how you like to adapt pitch and hear and react to pitch. So there is not one specific place within this spectrum that you need to be, and certainly I'm never going to tell you where you need to be. But almost for sure, you don't want to be fully on the side of a completely stable reed with no flexibility of pitch, nor do you want to be on the side of completely flexible with no integrity, no internal integrity of pitch. And this is something that we were exploring last week in Reed Club with one of my participants who, in general, makes a very, very stable reed, who created a reed that she felt was a little too flabby, that she felt she had to manage pitch on a little more than usual. The reaction that we had in Reed Club was, oh, it's incredibly compelling hearing you play that reed, and the amount of additional effort maybe that it required to play a reed that had a little more flexibility and to play it in tune actually made the sound better. It was a really exciting discovery, and I would like to talk a little bit about what some reeds might look like. I have 3 reeds here that I have prepared for the occasion. This one over here feels to me dramatically too flexible. This one seems just about right. And this one I have crafted to have a C-sharp crow to be a little bit like stuck in terms of its stability. Let me just show you what I mean. Here's the reed that I like a reed to be. So this reed, crow's a C. This reed, if I add my octave key to one of those left-hand notes, it gives a pretty good octave. It's a little bit like not quite there, but it feels pretty solid. And because this is a reed that feels comfortable to me, like I know exactly where to go to play this reed in tune. Right? It's pretty comfortable. Over here, this reed is one that to me feels just a little too unfinished. It's definitely crowing like a B or a B flat. I can play it in tune. But I'm significantly rolled in on this reed. I'm working pretty hard inside my mouth to make it be what it needs to be. And I can easily imagine myself getting tired very fast. Over here is a reed that's definitely just a little heavier. I left weight in the heart and I clipped when I probably shouldn't have clipped. And this reed is crowing a C sharp. Okay, it's crowing a sharp C. when I throw my octave, it's hitting actually a little bit too high, and while you might say, oh, Jennet's just made a sharp reed, for my example, for my purposes today, I want to talk about this as a very stable reed. Like if I enter on a high A, I think there's almost no chance that it's going to be flat. Right? It comes right out. If I'm going to be messing around, playing up in that register, I would have to relax pretty hard for those notes to be flat. And, you know, when you play, for example, I'm thinking about the Mozart concerto, where we just live up in that register all the time. A very flat reed can exhaust you really quickly. A reed like this, while I'm not wild about this particular reed, has the stability to hold its own pitch up, and sometimes we consider that to be a virtue. But I think you can hear as I play it how uncomfortable I actually am, and going into the orchestra or into an ensemble and trying to match with the people around me, I need more flexibility than that. So while it is true that these reeds crow a B flat maybe, a C-ish, and a very sharp C, this isn't really a conversation about the crow. It's about the place that they sit on that spectrum of stability to flexibility and what we can do about it. Frequently, when I see or hear people play a reed like this, this very, very stable one, where the place that I suggest that they look for additional flexibility is the sides of the heart, which in this case you can see that I've definitely got shiny bark still on those sides. And I also very often suggest that we look in this area right above the rooftop. And I'm seeking a concaveness to this cut in up here. So often, a reed that feels extremely stable is very full of good stuff, good thickness up in this tip. That stability is caused by a good quantity of thickness in the middle of the reed, solid slope going out. But sometimes, in order to bring that flexibility in that we may want, I'm going to look at the cut-in. I'm going to look at that skateboard ramp, and I'm going to be very defined about this exact area. So let me do some of that on this reed. I'm going to start with the sides of the heart because I feel how heavy that is, and then just gently arc across. Sides of the heart, and arc across. I'm never taking a great deal of cane off in the heart, but I do want to make sure that I don't have lumpy places or bark in there. But now I'm going to go up into that rooftop area. Now, let me be clear that when I think about the rooftop, I'm never thinking about this area right at the peak of the rooftop. That I just let take care of itself, but I am focused down here and down here at the very edges. And I'm just going to remake my cut-in. I'm going to emphasize the concavity of that area of the reed, and then just polish up the side of the heart, the side of the tip rather. Do my that, and then I just pet the kitty up the side. All 4 quadrants, and then I'll try it again. So that crow feels a little more purified to me. It feels a little more comfortable. And immediately this reed has a little more flex to it. So my octaves are better, and I have some room to go if I need to bring things just a little bit down in pitch, if I need to bring things a little bit up in pitch. Infinitely more comfortable to me. Over here, as I look at this very flexible reed, what I expect to see is that the heart may be light relative to the tip. And yeah, that does seem to be the case. If I look at that same region of the cut-in here, like I don't see a problem with the concavity. Rather, I just noticed that the tip is not terribly thin, but the heart is relatively thin. Furthermore, it doesn't look as though it's that much thicker in the center of the tip than out at the sides of the tip. So what I'm going to do here is pet the kitty a little bit, so more thinness at the side and corner of the tip. And my goal here is to increase the contrast between tip and heart, and between center of the tip and side of the tip. So I'm improving the slope within the tip Look how much wood there was here. And you wouldn't think necessarily that there'd be so much bulk to take out of the tip on a reed that already feels this flabby. But the flabbiness comes from the lack of contrast between heart and tip. Turns out there was a lot of wood up in that tip still. I'm also going to take just a little bit out behind the heart, because my goal here is to make the heart think it's thicker. And I probably need to clip. It's still a little low, but I think there's a reed in there now. You can hear the flatness in the octave. I'm just going to clip one more time. There we go. So wherever you live on that spectrum of stability to flexibility, I'm not going to tell you you're doing it wrong, but a thing to look at in your reed making is, could you afford a little bit more flexibility? Would you prefer a little bit more stability in your reeds, in general or for a specific purpose? And this might be a way to look at the results you want. This has been a 5-Minute Reedmaker episode. You can watch these short videos here on YouTube. You can subscribe if you wish. I hope you will. And if you need to reach me to order reeds or cane or a copy of my book, The Happiest Musician, or to ask a question that I could answer in a future 5-Minute Reedmaker episode, you can find me at jennetingle.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.